Michael Chiesa versus Carlos Condit. Look, coming into this fight, there's a few questions. Okay, here was the first. The last time that Michael Chiesa, who is Mr. Consistent, the last time that he was out there, he did not look like himself. He's out there fighting Anthony Pettis, and one thing about Chiesa is he is going to put a pressure on you. He is a dirty, nasty, the longer it goes and the harder it is, the better he likes it kind of fighter. With Pettis, first off, Chiesa misses weight. He never misses weight. He declares before the fight ever happens, I will never return to this weight class. He then goes out there, gets tired against Anthony Pettis. Really great fight. Chiesa gets tired. Chiesa never gets tired. Chiesa's been in 5-round fights before. He's been scheduled for 5-round fights many times before. He goes out, he's tired 10 minutes in. It just didn't look like himself. Then it gets disclosed to us that he's got a broken foot, which is why he was having a hard time moving around, which is why he couldn't run to be in shape, and why he didn't make weight. Okay. So you start to get the rest of the story, but he does follow up. He had a very good self-assessment of himself. He said, you know what? I'm just not the same guy. I'm taking off so much weight. I'm focused so much on the weight. I'm not focused on the train. I'm not happy. I'm going up to 170. So he goes up to 170, takes on a former two-time world champion in Carlos Condit. But there's a lot of questions around Carlos as well. Carlos Condit retired. I'm going back in time. He retired. He retired at a time that he should not have retired, okay? But he retired. He then decided to pull that towel back in and go, you know what? I got a little left in me. Okay, it's very easy to retire. Once you decide you want to come back, it's not so. Now you got to work for it. Mentally and physically, you've got to now work for it. And I think that we started to see that evolution over Carlos Condit. Okay, this 3 fights in, 3 fights on the comeback. Didn't look so hot against Neil Magny, in fairness, okay? But you're not gonna. You got to get that one out of the way. So he does. He comes back against Cowboy Oliveira. He starts to look a lot better. Didn't get the result he wanted, but performance-wise, he looked a lot better. Then he comes in here with Chiesa. He looked the best he's looked yet. Didn't get the result he wanted, but he looked fantastic. He got caught in a couple of bad positions, worked himself through them. Created some scrambles, looked for some submissions, had a heel hook locked on in loose part at one point, had an armbar locked on, almost got the finish at one point. Looked like his pacing was good, looked like his timing was back. He started to look like old Carlos Condit, but he is in there with a killer in Chiesa, a brand new guy to the division, a little younger, which generally means a little hungrier. Chiesa's putting him in some bad spots. It's just a really good fight, I guess is what I'm saying. Really, really good fight. But ultimately, Chiesa was able to pin him down. I think if there was any weakness for Carlos, it was his ability to stop some of those takedowns. One of the strength that Carlos Condit has always had is ability to get back up off the bottom. So, all in all, it was a really good fight. I just don't want Carlos to feel frustrated. I think that's the fan in me. I don't want Carlos to go away. And I realize since his comeback, he's batting a no-hitter here. However, the progression that he's showing, his competitiveness and his performances, though still not getting him over the hump, keep looking better. They keep looking better. A guy who is getting better is not a guy that should retire. Guys start here, and they go this way, and somewhere they meet retirement along the way. Carlos is going this way. Maybe not as fast as he wanted to, but that's what I saw. I saw a Carlos Condit that is performing better now than he did in his last fight. And there's not much more you can ask of a guy.
Where does Chiesa go?
So when you look at Chiesa, he had a very interesting call out, and he went after Magny. He said that right at the very end of the speech. You know, Chiesa's all full of energy. I love Chiesa on the mic. I think he's just got a good presence and a good persona. Crowd's always cheering him, so, you know, I know you guys like him too. But he was very smart at the end. No questions from Joe Rogan. Called out Neil Magny, said, you're next, drop the mic and walk away. And when you do things like that in this business, you tend to get what you want. So I am very confident in telling you guys we are going to see Chiesa and Magny in early 2019.